Welcome to another Facebook Live Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about some hate that I've received lately and how it kind of asked me to reframe or take a really good look at why I keep doing the work that I'm doing. So, within the past 2 weeks, I reposted and shared an article I wrote a while back called The Crucial Difference Between a Death and a Breakup. And basically, it's an article that acknowledges that breakups are also a grief in and of themselves, because in the aftermath of a breakup, you experience different kinds of pain than you do in the aftermath of the death of a loved one. Both of them are extremely painful in their own ways, and there was no way I was comparing the pain between these two life events. I was just bringing light to the fact that the pain of losing somebody through a breakup is different than the pain of losing somebody to a death. And I got a lot of backlash on this article. I got a lot of hate. And this is the first time that there's really been like a hate storm that's sent my way. And so it really kind of threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that. I had gotten so much traffic on this article recently through medium.com, which is the blogging platform that I use to post, that I thought it would be beneficial to everybody else that I was sharing with. It never occurred to me that somebody could take offense to it and then, come back with hate. But my entire week last week was filled with, waking up to 1-star reviews on Facebook, getting personal messages about how I don't know anything about grief, how I must have never experienced any major loss in my life, how I should probably go back to school and learn a little bit more about grief before I start talking about it in such a public sphere and in such a public way again. And a lot of these things were my worst fears. Grief growers, a lot of these things were my worst fears. Being met with people who don't see or accept or hear my journey with grief, or being around people who feel like I'm not qualified enough to be taking up space in a public sphere, or hearing from people who tell me I don't know anything and I can't possibly know or relate to their pain, or even just hurtful comments. I'm a stupid girl. I'm an ignorant girl. This doesn't belong here. You and your work do not belong in this sphere. So it was very painful, and it was very surprising, and it was very just like, oh, and I kind of sat back in my chair and I was like, why do I keep doing this? Because if this is going to be the reaction that I occasionally get to the work that I produce and the work that I put out, why do I keep doing this? And I was listening to a podcast because I have a podcast. I listen to a lot of other podcasts as well. And I was listening to Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, and she was talking to either Ariana Huffington or Glennon Doyle Melton, and I believe it was Glennon Doyle Melton, and she said something along the lines of, I keep talking and I keep writing and I keep speaking because I hold in me a truth that cannot be denied. I hold in me a truth that cannot be denied. And the instant I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's true for me. That's true for me. Because if I do give my energy and my focus to all the haters, it's really easy to say, I don't have to be doing this job. I don't have to be out here talking about grief. I don't have to be out here sharing my story. I don't have to be doing any of it. But just like Glenn and I feel like I hold in me a truth that cannot be denied. And regardless of how that presents to the outside world, I have to keep talking about it because I'm still working through it. And I feel like the things that I'm learning, and I know that the things that I'm learning about grief and about loss and these truths that fuel our lives, I know that they can help other people because they've already been helping other people. And they've helped me too. I just want to share what's helping me. And the truth that I hold in me that cannot be denied, the truth that I'm sharing with all of you constantly through the podcast and through Facebook and through Instagram and through these live videos, is that our stories heal. Sharing our stories heals. And whether we share our stories through creative endeavors, through writing, through speaking, through music, through talking to each other in these Facebook groups, through climbing, through physical exertion, however we choose to share our stories, they heal. And that's the entire reason I started the podcast. That's the entire reason I started doing grief recovery. It's because when we hear stories of other people's pain and other people's suffering and other people finding a way to like wrestle with grief and the darkness within themselves and find a way out of it, it gives us faith that we can do it too. And it shows us that there is a way to do it, that it's not impossible. And it also shows us that grief is not something that will completely consume and overtake our lives. And there's a lot of hope in that. There's a lot of hope in that. And it's really, really cool. So I just have this faith in me, this story in me, this truth in me that stories heal. And I need to keep saying it over and over and over again. And I need to keep practicing it over and over and over again. And I need to keep sharing it over and over and over again, because these stories are healing. And it's not just my story. It's not just these articles I post. It's the stories that are coming through interviews on the podcast. It's the stories that I'm finding and sharing through these articles on Facebook. It's my story, and it's your story, and it's their story, and it's our story, and it's this narrative that we're writing together of we can come back. We can come back. It's a real possibility for us. And it's almost an inevitable reality. It's just different for each of us, how we each latch on to different resources and different people and different art and different music and different solutions that carry us through, which is why I'm trying the best that I can through all these mediums to gather all these stories and pick them all up and curate them for you so that they're all in this one spot where we can find each other. Because it's all of our stories together that heal. And that's really cool, because through all of these haters sending me messages, I was like, this is not what they're saying about me is not who I am. Who I am is someone who wants to share these stories and to share these messages with other people. That's why I keep doing this. I don't keep doing this to make money. This is not really a money-making business for me right now. I don't keep doing this to make myself famous, because I know, and coaches have taught me, that it doesn't matter whether I'm doing it or whether somebody else is doing it. The message is going to come. People are going to connect inevitably, no matter what. So it's not about me being famous, and it's not about me trying to convince you how to grieve, how to feel pain, how to live your life. It's not. It's me sharing this truth. It's me sharing this truth of stories heal. And just getting it out there. Just putting it out there the best possible way I know how. So if you're one of my haters this week, if you're calling me a stupid girl, telling me I need to go back to school, how dare I try and compare griefs, thank you. Honestly. Thank you for asking me to step back and reevaluate why I keep doing this. And if you're one of my supporters, thank you. Because you confirm for me why I continue to do this. I'm here because you're here. I'm here because my pain is here and your pain is here. I'm here because all of our stories are here and they need to be told. And that's my truth this week. If you want to hear more on this, I really encourage you to listen to the podcast episode this week. It's a really short 11 minutes. It was just me sitting down with a microphone, which I do every so often. But yeah, I just needed to talk and say hey to the haters and hey to my non-haters and just hey to myself and my mission and my story. Because stories heal. And even through grief, we are growing. I'll talk to you later. Bye.